Chase McLaughlin, second longest field goal in NFL history at 65 yards. Welcome to Just the Stats NFL, the show that covers the NFL statistical leaders from the all-time greats to the current players leading the NFL. I'm your host, Ernie Jennings, and in this episode, we will be looking at quite a game between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Philadelphia Eagles. This game took place in Tampa Bay Stadium, Raymond James Stadium in Tampa Bay, and the Eagles ended up pulling this game out, had the lead throughout actually, ended up winning 31-25, so they basically held on. It was quite a game, and we'll get into it. But we will start with the top 10 first. Top 10, all of these belong to the Buccaneers. Excuse me. The first one, there were some big plays in this game, but the first one is Chase McLaughlin, end of the first half, kicked a 65-yard field goal to tie Brandon Aubrey for the Cowboys for second longest field goal in NFL history. Aubrey kicked his last year, almost exactly a year ago. The record's held by Justin Tucker for the Ravens, who made his field goal in September of 21. So it has been 5 years now since he set the record with 66-yarder. Just 1 yard off the record. This record's going to get broken. It is surprising that it has hung on for actually 4 years, but you do need the right situation, like at the end of that half when they gave him a shot, Chase McLaughlin, a shot to make the field goal. But yes, Chase McLaughlin, second longest field goal in NFL history at 65 yards. Another top 10. This one's Baker Mayfield, had a couple of them today. First one is in passing yards. He needed 280 yards to pass Steve DeBerg for fourth all-time in Tampa Bay history's passing yards. He got that by 9 more yards than he needed. 289 yards he had in the game against the Eagles. So now he has 9,448 yards to move into 8th place all-time by himself. Next up for him is Brad Johnson, who played from 2001 to 2004. He has 10,940. So Baker Mayfield needs about 1,000 yards. Within 4 games, I would say, averaging 250 yards a game, he should catch Brad Johnson in about 4 games to move into 7th place. Right now, Jameis Winston's number 1 all time. You won't catch him, obviously, because he's got 19,737 yards. It's going to take him 3 years, maybe. Baker Mayfield, we'll see where he ends up this year, but definitely has a chance to catch Jameis Winston before he ends his career. Baker Mayfield also has been moving up in the touchdowns passing touchdowns. He had 2 in this game, which helped him tie Vinny Testaverde for 4th all time. Vinny Testaverde played from 87 to 92, and now they both have 77 touchdown passes. Next up for Baker Mayfield is Josh Freeman, who played from 2009 to 2013. He had 80 touchdown passes. So he's next up. After that, Tom Brady, and then number 1, Jameis Winston, who had 121 touchdown passes for the Buccaneers. That's the most for them. Now, moving from just a team level to the NFL records. Lavonte David had been sitting for a week or so, couple weeks, on 171 tackles for loss. He got 1 in this game to put him at 172, which moves him into a tie with Von Miller. They both have 172. That's good enough for 6th place all time in the NFL. Next up, actually, for both of them is Julius Peppers, who played from 2002 to 2018. He had 175 tackles for loss. That's the number 5 all-time record in tackles for loss. Currently, Terrell Suggs, who played from 2003 to 2019, interestingly, primarily with the Buccaneers, had 202 tackles for loss. So that's farther down the road for Lavonte David. Lavonte David does hold the Buccaneers record for most tackles for loss, but now he's number 6 all time in the NFL. All right, that is our top 10s for this game. Now, looking at the game itself, like I said, this game ended up close, but the Eagles ran away with it almost right from the start. I mean, it was 24-6 at halftime, and only Tampa Bay was able to get that 65-yard field goal at the end of the first half to help them get back in the game. Then in the third quarter, 2 incredible passes. Just amazing that the first one, honestly, to Emeka Ibuka was 77 yards and 2 defenders. Somehow he got it over them and to Ibuka, and he just literally walked into the end zone for a touchdown. But those passes, that pass was inches. I mean, literally 1 or 2 inches from being tipped, and it just wasn't quite. So they got a touchdown there, Tampa, to pull themselves within 24-13 to make it a little closer. Then Saquon Barkley ran it in for a touchdown on it was a goal line, obviously a tush push, and they faked it. First time I've seen him actually fake it. Barkley took it and ran around the end, nobody even near him. He ran it in for a 6-yard run, touchdown, and that was put him in the lead at 31-13. And then another incredible pass. This was Baker Mayfield running around, scrambling around. Irving goes deep. He had kind of went out for a little short pass out of the backfield. And he didn't get the ball, so he headed down the field, and Baker Mayfield saw him for a 72-yard touchdown pass, put the game at 31-20. That was toward the end of the third quarter. The fourth quarter was nothing more than a field goal and a safety for 5 more points for Tampa Bay to make it closer, 31-25. McLaughlin hit a 58-yard field goal in the fourth quarter, so he had 2 really long field goals in this game. Not enough, though. They needed more than a field goal, and it ended up 31-25. All right, let's look at some of the numbers, which are very interesting here. Philadelphia is something how they're winning these games. First downs, Tampa Bay had 18. Philadelphia had only 16 first downs. Total net yards, Tampa Bay 376. Believe it or not, the Eagles had 200 scored. Like I said, 31 points on 200 yards, net yards. 88 net yards rushing, 112 net yards passing. Tampa Bay had the ball for almost 32 minutes to 28 for the Eagles. Wow. I mean, third down efficiency, neither team was good. 5 for 14 for 35% for the Eagles, and only 3 for 13 for 23% for Tampa Bay. They did go for it on fourth down 3 times, only made it once, though. So the stats seem to, for the most part, favor Tampa Bay, but they ended up losing this game. Overall, they had 2 fumbles. One they lost, a big bad fumble that when they were trying to move back down the field for a next time. And this was actually, they'd gotten it to the score to 24-13. They were moving the ball again when they had a fumble and turned it over, and the Eagles were able to move down and score another touchdown. Looking at the quarterbacks here in this game, Jalen Hurts, 15 completions on 24 attempts for 130 yards, a 5.4 yard average per attempt. 2 touchdowns. That's what makes his quarterback rating 104.5. Honestly, it's interesting that you can have a quarterback rating that high with those kind of numbers. Sacked twice. Baker Mayfield attempted quite a few more passes, completed 22 out of 40 for 289 yards, averaged per attempt 7.2, so a little higher. 2 touchdowns, 1 interception, had that 77-yard touchdown bomb to Ibuka. He was sacked twice as well. He ended up with a quarterback rating of 84.3. The Buccaneers were in this game until the end. They weren't. That was a problem. They let the Eagles get too far out in the lead, and they tried to make a comeback, just couldn't do it. Now, looking at the running game, the Eagles still have not been able to do much here. I mean, Jalen Hurts was 9 for 62 for a 6.9-yard average, which is good. But Saquon Barkley carried the ball 19 times, but only for 43 yards, 2.26 yards per carry. He did have a touchdown, so that helped him if you have him on your team, which obviously you're going to continue to start him as being a number one running back. But he still has not had that good of a season. Looking at the Buccaneers, Irving, 15 carries for 63 yards, 4.2-yard average, no touchdowns. Rachaad White, 6 carries, 17 yards, only 2.83 yards per carry. Baker Mayfield, 2 carries for 13 yards. They ran it 26 times for 104 yards, basically a 4.0 average, while the Eagles, 32 carries for 88 yards, 2.75 yards a carry. Looking at the receivers, Saquon Barkley led the team in receptions, or actually tied Dallas Goedert, the tight end. They both had 4 receptions. Barkley 4 for 31, Dallas Goedert 4 for 37. Those are both on 4 targets. So Barkley ended up with basically 74 yards in this game total with 1 touchdown. Goddard only had 4 receptions for 37 yards, but he had 2 touchdowns in this game. So that really boosted him up as far as fantasy goes. Now, A.J. Brown, he killed you if you had him, if you were playing him. 2 catches, 7 yards. He was targeted 9 times, 2 catches. And there were several long passes thrown to his way along the sideline, but Hurts just sailed it out of bounds. I mean, Brown had no chance to even catch it. So not a good game at all. Same for Devontae Smith. You can't really even start him anymore. You think you should be able to, but 2 receptions, 29 yards on two targets. That's all he had. I mean, they're at least trying to throw the ball to Brown. 9. Nobody was even close. Next best targets was 4. But rough game for the receivers overall, unless you had Goddard. Now for Tampa Bay, again, it was a running back that led the team. 5 catches, 102 yards. One of them was, of course, that 72-yard touchdown bomb. He was targeted 5 times, caught all of them. Now, Emeka Egbuka led the team in targets with 10. Well, actually, he was tied with Chris Godwin. Both of them had 10. But Egbuka had 4 catches, 101 yards. One of them, of course, was that 77-yard touchdown bomb. And then Chris Godwin, 3 catches for 26 yards. Not too good on 10 targets. Now, this was his first game back, so you kind of can expect a little bit of time getting in sync with Mayfield. Now, Rachaad White, also coming out of the backfield, had 4 catches for 29 yards on 5 targets. So out of the backfield, there was 9 receptions right there between Irving and White out of 22 total. So more than any other group of players, receivers. Cade Otton, the tight end, had 3 catches for only 9 yards in this game. So if you played him, not a good game. Sterling Shepard, 2 catches, 14 yards on 4 targets. All right, let's look at the defense. For the Eagles, Cooper DeJean, 9 total tackles, 8 solo. Zach Bound, 8 total tackles, 5 solo, and he had a sack as well. So those are your top 2 players. Moro Ajamo had a sack as well in this game. That was the only 2 sacks that the Eagles had in this game of Mayfield. They chased him around, but he's pretty savvy. Now for the Buccaneers, it was Tyke Smith, 9 total tackles, 5 solo, 4 assists to lead the team. Servakia Dennis had 8 tackles, 6 solo, 2 assists. And then Vita Vea, only 3 total tackles, 3 solo ones, but 2 sacks in this game. So that's good for him. Levante David, like I said, had that tackle for loss. He also had 3 tackles total. So that is a look at your defenses as well. Now, like I said, this game was pretty interesting to watch, especially the first 3 quarters. The fourth quarter kind of died out somewhat, but overall, it was a really good game. to watch. Eagles win it 31-25. They are now 4-0. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers are 3-1. This was a battle between two undefeated teams, and they made it entertaining. It didn't look like it was going to be after the first half, but it was ultimately a pretty good game to watch. All right, so now that is a wrap for this game. I'll just put it that way. We'll leave it at that. Let me throw in one more stat here. So now the Tampa Bay Buccaneers lead this series 13-12. So it's pretty close series right now. All right, that is a wrap for this episode of Just the Stats NFL. You can catch me on YouTube at Just the Stats NFL on YouTube, and then also any podcasts, Apple, Spotify. Also, you can contact me at justthestatsnfl@gmail.com. Appreciate you listening, and we're off to do another game. That's a wrap for this episode of Just Stats.